Hey everybody, I bought this magazine, um, Centennial Icons Special Collector's Edition. It's all about Notorious B.I.G. So I'm going to read to you a couple articles out of the magazine. Um, so this first article it's an introduction. It's called Bigger Than Life. Paying tribute to rap icon, the Notorious B.I.G. 25 years later. This is written by Jeff Gage. The greatest rappers are at heart storytellers, and few in the history of the genre could spin a tale like the Notorious B.I.G. The big man from Brooklyn not only brought East Coast hip hop back to prominence, he became a mainstream star like few of his peers have done, matched only by a handful of artists like Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, or Kanye West, all of whom had a considerably longer time to build their legacies. From the beginning, Biggie's music dealt heavily with themes of morality, Ready to Die, and Life After Death, the only two albums he completed during his lifetime. Writ the topic large and bold-faced in their very titles. I was really ready to die, the rapper told Spin in one of his final interviews. My mom was sick and I was not giving a F-U-C-K about anything anymore. I felt that if I were to die, not too many people would miss me. Yet his songs were also full of humor, sex, and unabashed braggadocio. Biggie had no doubts that he was the best and no trouble convincing others to feel the same way. Inevitably, the tragedy of Biggie's life colors all else. The falling out with Tupac Shakur, the deadly East Coast-West Coast rivalry, and his ultimate grisly end in a drive-by shooting at his Spotlight in Los Angeles in 1997. His was a rags to riches fable and Greek tragedy rolled into one. A high school dropout destined to become a millionaire and entertainment icon. That story continues to resonate around the world, fueling a never-ending market for memorabilia, movies, and music delivered from beyond the grave. This March marks the 25th anniversary of Biggie's murder. This May, what would have been his 50th birthday, he's now been gone for longer than he lived. Despite the all too scarce body of work he left behind, there is little to dim his legacy. Fresh off his induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with a recent documentary, Biggie, I Got a Story to Tell You, hitting refresh on his backstory, we celebrate the Notorious B.I.G.'s incredible impact at a time where his work feels as alive as ever. So once again, that's just the introduction to this magazine. This magazine is called Centennial Legends, and this one is all dedicated to Notorious B.I.G. Okay, on pages 8, 9, there's like a pictorial, celebrate to Biggie. 10, 11, same thing. They show like a lot of pictures and stuff like that. 12, same thing. 13. And when you get to 14, there's an article called Everyday Struggle. This also was written by Jeff Gage. And this one is called Everyday Struggle. The life of crime and violence that the Notorious B.I.G. so vividly depicted in his music might have come with a healthy dose of creative license, but the stories he told were torn straight out of his own reality. Born Christopher George Latore Wallace on May 21st, 1972 in Brooklyn, New York, he was the child of Jamaican immigrants and saw firsthand the devastation wreaked upon black communities by the crack cocaine epidemic of the 1980s. Christopher's mother, Valletta Wallace, was raised in Trelawney on the northern coast of Jamaica, the fourth of 9 children in a middle-class family. Her father was a butcher. Valletta itched for better prospects and followed a stint in the capital of Kingston. She bluffed her way into a travel visa to the United States. In 1969, at age 16, she headed for New York City. What she found wasn't the land of opportunity she expected. After working odd jobs like switchboard operator, she enrolled at Brooklyn College and began studying to be a teacher. By 1970, Valletta met another Jamaican expat, Selwyn George Latore, a hulk of a man who worked as a welder and made his way to the United States after a detour to England. It was only when she became pregnant that she learned the truth about Notorious. He had a wife and kids back in London that he'd never told her about. Valletta, a Jehovah's Witness, went ahead with the pregnancy, and by the time Christopher was 2, his father was out of the picture. Don't know him, and I don't want to know him. I don't need that cocksucker for nothing, the rapper told biographer Chio Hardori Coker. Besides, he said, it just seemed natural for it to just be me and my mom. Left to raise her as a single mother, Valletta worked 2 jobs while finishing school, eventually receiving her master's, then becoming a preschool teacher. Life wasn't as destitute as the one Christopher depicted on his songs. Far from the tales of an apartment with no heat, where Christmas passed him by, he and his mother lived comfortably enough in the Clinton Hill neighborhood of Brooklyn, near Bedford Stuyvesant. Valletta doted on her only child, whom she called Chrissy Poo. He was exceptionally bright, learning to read and write. So just some pictures they had in the magazine there. You can see, like, those are some things they had in the magazine. Get some pictures on the page. Looks like that might be a picture of his mother right there. Kindergarten, an excellence in the private Queen of All Saints Middle School. He had a knack for everything, said friend Hubert Sam. He was top of the class from day one, showing a particular flair for art and writing. He was funny and popular with his classmates, who took to calling him Big as early as 10. While his mother was working, Christopher busied himself in the evening playing video games. He also took an interest in hip-hop, poring over cassette tapes by Run DMC, LL Cool J, and Boogie Down Productions. He and Sam would get together at friend Mike Bynum's house and experiment with rapping. Christopher called himself MC C West and his buddies DJ, calling themselves the Techniques. From the off, he had a gift for storytelling, but thought of it only as a fun pastime. When Big was young, he was shy, Damian D. Rock Butler told Entertainment Weekly. He would get mad if we told anyone he knew how to rap. During the summers, he visited Valletta's family in Jamaica, where he was immersed in the sounds of reggae by his Uncle Lou, who was a club DJ and musician. But a world of temptations waited right outside the Wallace's window. Clinton Hill was an affluent white neighborhood, but Bed-Stuy was a picture of poverty. The industries that once fueled its economy, like the Brooklyn Navy Yard, had disappeared. Drug dealers and crackheads swarmed the block. Christopher marveled at the dealers' fancy outfits and longed to live as lavishly as they did. The hustlers on the corners were my role models, he told Interview. He nagged his mother to buy him the freshest clothes, Timberland boots, Adidas tracksuits, even if she could barely afford them. When he reached high school, Christopher demanded a switch to the public George Westinghouse Jr. Vocational School. Among the student body were Sean Jay-Z Carter and Trevor Busta Rhymes Smith, but he quickly became bored with the lower academics standards he encountered there. One day, after a teacher warned Christopher's class that they might wind up garbage men if they didn't focus on their studies, he returned with a magazine article reporting teachers had a lower starting salary than garbage workers. Christopher did very well in high school. It's just that he talked back a lot, said Valletta. He was a smartass. Soon, Christopher skipped school days and weeks at a time, but Valletta ignored the signs, even when a letter came threatening her son's arrest over truancy. Mother effers would tell moms that I did something, but she wouldn't believe them. She'd be like, not my Christopher, he later recalled. Finally, when he was 17, he dropped out of school for good. As far as he saw it, his prospects were better in the streets dealing drugs. So they talked about who are the people who inspired Biggie on this page, Masters of the Mic. So Eric B. and Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Boogie Down Productions, and NWA. It says, Biggie's first love was the East Coast rap, but while the late 80s were colored in the home front by the positive vibes of A Tribe Called Quest or De La Soul, he gravitated to the hard-hitting approach of NWA, the Compton, California ensemble's debut straight out of Compton, forever altered the landscape. After the group split, producer Dr. Dre released the equally influential The Chronic in 1992. So this is a little bit about Notorious B.I.G. I'll be back with another video. Once again, this is readings out of the magazine Centennial Legends. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and message. Peace.